Season 8 of Hudson and Rex has been a roller coaster of emotions, filled with deep cases that not only test the team's skills, but also their hearts. By the time we reach episode 6, the tension is already high. We've seen Hudson and Rex go through intense investigations, moral choices, and moments where instinct was their only guide. But this episode feels different. Darker, more emotional, and deeply human. It doesn't just deal with solving a crime. It's about understanding what it truly means to trust someone, even when everything around you starts to fall apart. The episode opens with a quiet yet haunting scene. The camera moves through the empty streets of St. John's as a soft drizzle paints the pavement silver. Suddenly, a police radio crackles to life. There's been an incident near the harbor. A body has been found, but there's something strange about it. No signs of struggle, no clear motive. Hudson arrives at the scene with Rex trotting beside him, his fur glistening under the rain. The way the camera captures Rex's focus tells us he senses something that others can't. This isn't just another case. It's personal. From the very beginning, the episode sets an emotional tone. We see Hudson studying the evidence while Rex sniffs around with sharp, silent precision. Their bond feels almost telepathic. No words, just instinct. But then, something unusual happens. Rex reacts strangely to a scent, growling softly, almost uncertain. It's rare to see Rex confused, and Hudson notices it. The camera lingers on Hudson's face as he realizes this case might touch closer to home than he expected. As the investigation begins, the team joins in: Joe Donovan, Sarah Truong, and Jesse Mills, each bringing their strengths but also their doubts. The rhythm of their dialogue feels tense yet familiar, but there's a weight in Hudson's voice this time. He's not just chasing a suspect, he's chasing a memory. Something in this case reminds him of an older, unsolved mystery, one that once put Rex's life in danger. The background music builds slowly, creating a mix of suspense and melancholy that sets the stage for what's coming. This first act is a masterclass in storytelling through silence and emotion. The writers don't rush into the crime's details. Instead, they build the world through subtle clues. A glove found near the docks, a photograph with a missing corner, a witness who seems too nervous to speak. Each moment pulls the audience deeper, making us feel like we're walking beside Hudson and Rex, piecing the puzzle together. But what truly grips the viewer is the chemistry between man and dog. Hudson's calm voice contrasts Rex's sharp intuition, creating a rhythm that feels almost poetic. In several shots, we see Rex stop suddenly, stare into the distance, as if remembering something. The cinematography captures the tension beautifully. Dim lights, wet roads, and close-up shots of eyes filled with doubt. It's clear that this case is not just about solving a murder. It's about uncovering a truth that's been buried under layers of guilt, loyalty, and silence. By the end of the opening act, we realize that The Bond Beyond the Badge is more than a clever title. It's a promise. A promise that this story will push Hudson and Rex to their emotional limits. The bond that has carried them through countless cases will now be tested by secrets from the past and choices that could break their trust. As the first section closes, the tension lingers in the air like the last note of a sad melody. Hudson looks out over the harbor, lost in thought, while Rex sits beside him, eyes locked on the dark water below. The screen fades to black, but the silence speaks volumes. The question hangs heavy. When duty and loyalty collide, which one survives? The rain hasn't stopped. It feels like the sky itself refuses to let go of the weight this case carries. As dawn breaks over St. John's, the police tape flutters in the cold wind, and Hudson stands silently beside Rex, reviewing the evidence once more. Every clue seems to lead to another dead end. But Rex's restlessness tells a different story. His eyes dart between the water and the old warehouse nearby, as if something in the air feels off. That's when Hudson decides to follow Rex's instinct. The move that will lead them straight into the heart of the mystery. Inside the warehouse, the atmosphere changes. The scene is quiet except for the echo of footsteps and the steady dripping of rain through a cracked roof. The camera pans slowly, revealing old shipping crates, faded photographs, and a strange scent that catches Rex's attention. He stops, sniffs the air, and lets out a low bark, sharp, certain, and urgent. Hudson kneels beside him and notices what Rex has found. A badge. Not a current one. An old police badge, tarnished with time. That single object shifts the tone of the entire episode. This isn't just a random killing. It's tied to the force itself. The victim wasn't a stranger. They were a former officer. And suddenly, the bond beyond the badge takes on a new meaning. Hudson realizes this case might expose something from within. Something someone wanted buried forever. Back at headquarters, the team starts digging into old records. Sarah cross-references the badge number with the police archives. Jesse pulls surveillance footage from nearby streets, while Donovan pressures a reluctant witness. The writing cleverly layers tension, not through shouting or chaos, but through silence. Each character knows they're walking a thin line, investigating a case that might shake the department's foundation. Rex, however, can sense what no database can reveal. He keeps glancing toward the evidence board, then to Hudson, as if trying to tell him something's missing. There's a beautiful scene here, subtle, wordless, and powerful. Hudson sits at his desk late at night, exhausted, running through files. Rex rests beside him, eyes half closed, yet alert. Suddenly he rises, pads toward a box of unsorted evidence, and starts pawing at it. Inside is a photograph, a group of officers from years ago, all smiling. Hudson looks closer and freezes. One face stands out. A man who shouldn't be in this case but somehow is. This moment changes everything. The dead officer wasn't killed for revenge or greed. It was about betrayal. The victim had uncovered something, a secret from the past involving corrupt officers who used their badges to cover up crimes. The very institution Hudson dedicated his life to might have hidden the truth. And now that truth is clawing its way back. The pacing quickens. The editing becomes tighter, the lighting colder. We see Hudson questioning his own judgment. Has he been blind all this time? Did his loyalty to the badge make him ignore signs of corruption? Rex's steady presence is his only anchor. Their partnership is tested as Hudson's trust in the system starts to crumble. There's a moment where Hudson speaks softly to Rex. "You always see things I don't. Maybe that's why I need you more than ever." It's one of the episode's most emotional lines. Simple, but full of meaning. As the investigation deepens, the tension within the team grows. Sarah warns Hudson to tread carefully. Donovan insists they need to go through official channels, but Hudson can't wait. He knows that the longer they wait, the more evidence will disappear. Rex leads him to an abandoned car near the outskirts of town, where they find the final piece of the puzzle, a USB drive hidden under the seat. Inside are files documenting illegal transactions between officers and private contractors, including the name of someone still serving. The next sequence is gripping. Hudson and Rex follow the trail to an old pier at night. The lighting is minimal, with only the red and blue flashes from a distant buoy painting the scene. They hear footsteps, the sound of someone who's been expecting them. A confrontation follows, tense and quiet. No music, no shouting, just raw emotion. The suspect, once a trusted colleague, reveals the hidden truth. The victim had threatened to expose everything. He tried to protect the force's image, but it was too late. Rex senses the tension rising and moves closer to Hudson, ready to defend. The moment captures what this show does best, portraying emotion through the silent language between man and dog. When the suspect tries to escape, Rex leaps forward, stopping him in seconds, proving once again that instincts never lie. As the camera pans over the scene, Hudson looks at Rex, not with pride, but sorrow. The truth is out, but it comes at a cost. The badge that once symbolized justice now feels heavier, tainted by deceit. Hudson whispers, "Sometimes the hardest part isn't catching the criminal, it's learning who they used to be." The scene fades out on Rex's steady gaze and the haunting reflection of police lights on the water. The case might be close to solved, but the emotional storm has only begun. The bond between Hudson and Rex remains strong, but now it carries the weight of truth that cuts deeper than any case they've faced before. Every great episode of Hudson and Rex goes beyond crime and justice. It touches something deeply human, the fragile line between truth and trust. In The Bond Beyond the Badge, this idea becomes the heartbeat of the story. It's not just about uncovering corruption or catching a criminal. It's about what happens when loyalty collides with truth, when doing the right thing means questioning everything you once believed in. The title itself, The Bond Beyond the Badge, holds layers of meaning. On the surface, it speaks of Hudson and Rex's partnership, a friendship built not on rank or rule, but on instinct and understanding. But beneath that, it questions the moral fabric of the system they serve. What happens when the very badge that represents justice becomes the mask hiding betrayal? The episode dares to explore that uncomfortable space. The theme of loyalty runs like a steady current through every frame. Hudson's loyalty to the Force has always defined him. He wears his badge with pride, believing in the law and the people behind it. But this episode turns that belief inside out. When Hudson discovers that someone he once trusted used that same badge to commit crimes, it forces him to see that loyalty without truth can become blindness. There's a quiet but powerful scene where Hudson sits alone in his car, staring at his badge. The rain hits the windshield, blurring the reflection of the gold emblem. The camera lingers just long enough for viewers to feel his turmoil. Is he still protecting justice, or just the idea of it? Then there's Rex, the heart of the series. While Hudson wrestles with human emotions, doubt, anger, guilt, Rex remains a symbol of pure loyalty. His instincts are untouched by politics or ego. He represents what the badge was meant to stand for: honesty, courage, and heart. In several symbolic moments, Rex acts as Hudson's conscience. When Hudson hesitates to confront his former colleague, Rex nudges him forward, as if reminding him that truth, no matter how painful, must be faced. Their unspoken bond mirrors the purity of justice, something simple and incorruptible in a world clouded by lies. The episode also plays heavily with the theme of trust. Trust is what keeps the team together. Hudson trusting Rex's instincts, the team trusting Hudson's leadership. But here, that foundation cracks. When Hudson realizes the department covered up the truth for years, it's not just a betrayal of one man. It's a betrayal of the entire idea of justice. The show's writers use subtle visual metaphors to drive this point home. Dim lighting, blurred reflections, and glass surfaces that distort faces. Everything looks slightly unclear, symbolizing how truth can be twisted when hidden behind authority. Another powerful theme is redemption. The suspect, a former officer, isn't written as purely evil. He's broken, a man who once believed he was protecting the force by burying its flaws. His confession is filled with regret. He admits that he lost sight of what the badge truly meant. "I thought I was saving the force," he says, "but all I did was destroy its soul." That line hits hard, not just for Hudson, but for the audience. It reminds us that corruption often begins with good intentions, with someone trying to do the right thing in the wrong way. Throughout the episode, we also see Hudson's internal conflict, the emotional battle between his duty as a detective and his conscience as a man. There's a moment after the arrest when he walks through the station, the walls echoing with silence. Colleagues nod respectfully, but the look in his eyes is distant. He's not thinking about the case he solved, but about the ideals he almost lost. It's one of those rare moments where the show slows down to let emotion breathe. The direction in this episode deserves special mention. The cinematography leans into symbolic storytelling. The recurring use of light and shadow visually mirrors the moral shades of gray that the characters navigate. The color grading shifts from the usual warm tones to cooler, desaturated hues, reflecting the emotional coldness of betrayal. The music, soft piano notes mixed with distant echoes, feels less like a score and more like a heartbeat. Constant, subtle, and filled with tension. Rex's perspective also adds emotional depth. Though he never speaks, his reactions say more than words could. In one haunting scene, after the confrontation at the pier, Rex walks away from the arrested officer and stops beside Hudson. He doesn't bark, doesn't wag his tail. He just stands there, quiet, looking up at him. That single moment captures the episode's entire message. Truth is heavy, but it's what makes the bond real. The bond beyond the badge is not about destroying faith in the system. It's about reclaiming it. By the end of the episode, Hudson understands that integrity isn't defined by what's on the badge, but by the person wearing it. The badge might give authority, but it's compassion, courage, and honesty that give meaning to it. Rex reminds him, through action, through presence, that their bond doesn't depend on symbols. It depends on trust. The deeper truth behind this episode lies in its reflection of reality. It reminds viewers that every institution, no matter how noble, depends on the people who uphold it. When those people falter, justice doesn't disappear. It waits for someone brave enough to bring it back. And that's what Hudson and Rex do, time and again. Their bond isn't just friendship. It's a reminder that sometimes the purest form of truth comes not from words, but from loyalty that refuses to break. As the section closes, the rain finally stops. The clouds part, and soft sunlight fills the station. Hudson clips Rex's leash, pats his head, and whispers, "We did what we had to." The camera pans upward, catching the badge glinting faintly in the sunlight, not as a mark of authority, but as a fragile symbol of hope renewed. The storm has passed, but the silence it leaves behind feels heavier than thunder. The bond beyond the badge ends not with cheers or applause, but with reflection. The kind that sits deep in the chest long after the screen fades to black. This isn't a story about victory. It's a story about rediscovering what truly matters when the lines between justice and loyalty blur. Hudson stands by the pier once more, the same spot where the truth first began to unravel. The city lights shimmer on the water, echoing the balance between light and shadow. The same balance every officer, every human being, must carry inside. Hudson doesn't say much. He doesn't need to. His silence says more than words ever could. The camera captures his face, weary, contemplative, yet calm. Rex sits beside him, eyes soft, tail still. Their silhouettes merge into one, symbolizing that their connection has survived the test of truth. The badge on Hudson's chest glints faintly in the dim light, no longer just a symbol of authority, but of experience, of lessons learned through pain. That's when it becomes clear. The real bond wasn't about the badge at all. It was about trust, forgiveness, and courage. This closing scene mirrors the emotional essence of the entire episode. Hudson and Rex have always represented two sides of one soul: logic and instinct, mind and heart. But after everything that's happened, they're no longer simply partners solving crimes. They're mirrors of each other, both scarred but stronger. The episode subtly reminds us that justice doesn't live in systems or laws. It lives in the people who choose to uphold it, even when it hurts. What makes this conclusion powerful is its restraint. There's no dramatic music swelling into triumph, no easy answers. Instead, there's quiet honesty. Hudson takes a slow breath, pats Rex's head, and mutters something simple yet profound. "We'll keep doing what we do, partner. One truth at a time." The simplicity of that line reflects the beauty of the show itself. It never exaggerates its message. It lets emotion breathe through moments, through pauses, through the silent strength between man and dog. As viewers, we're left reflecting not only on the episode, but on our own sense of loyalty. How far would we go to protect what we believe in? What happens when doing the right thing means standing alone? Hudson's journey reminds us that integrity isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance. It's about standing firm when the world starts to tilt. And Rex, loyal, instinctive, unshaken, becomes the symbol of what true partnership looks like. Trust without words, love without limits. From a storytelling perspective, the bond beyond the badge stands out because it doesn't rely on grand twists or shocking reveals. Instead, it uses emotion as its driving force. The writers weave small, human moments into the larger mystery. The way Hudson hesitates before making an arrest. The way Rex looks back at him for reassurance. The way Sarah's eyes soften when she realizes how much this case cost them emotionally. These little moments make the episode feel alive, grounded, and painfully real. For fans, this episode serves as both a reward and a reminder. It rewards longtime viewers by diving deeper into the emotional bond that has kept Hudson and Rex inseparable since the start. And it reminds everyone that behind every badge, every uniform, there's a heart. One that can break, doubt, and still choose to do the right thing. That's what makes this duo timeless. The closing minutes are beautifully symbolic. Hudson removes his jacket, revealing the faint scratch marks Rex left earlier during the chase. He smiles at them, not out of pain but pride. It's a quiet acknowledgement that every scar, every trial is part of their story. As he walks away with Rex by his side, the camera pans upward, showing the horizon clearing after the storm. The light returns slow and gentle. It's not just morning in St. John's. It's renewal. For viewers watching, it's impossible not to feel something stir inside. Maybe it's admiration for Hudson's resilience, or warmth for Rex's unwavering loyalty, or maybe it's something more personal, the realization that we all have our own version of that bond. Whether it's a friend, a pet, a partner, or a belief, we all carry something that keeps us steady when the world around us feels uncertain. The narration in the final voiceover ties it all together. In a world of badges and rules, there's a bond that can't be broken. A bond born not of duty but of trust, and as long as that bond endures, truth will always find its way home. It's the perfect closing sentiment, poetic, heartfelt, and true to the spirit of the show. The credits roll over a soft piano melody, echoing the same emotional tone as the first rain in the opening scene. Full circle, in the end,